right, so as we get into our first topic this hour, let me introduce my guest. Her name is Caroline Gaithuma, and she's a transformation life coach. Karibu sana to the show.
Thank you so much.
Good to have you here.
Thank
And we're going to be talking about end year self-evaluation.
Yeah.
We're already at that point, Yani, we're already talking about the end of 2019.
Yeah.
Man, look at life. But, time has really, really flown. And I don't know about you guys, but a lot of you must be sitting down and asking, like myself, what have I done? What have I accomplished this year? Am I proud of what I've spent my time, my energy, my resources on thus far? And to be able to do that and figure out whether we've made hits or misses, successes or failures, we have to evaluate ourselves, right? It's appropriate that this is coming during exam period also in the country. But Caroline, the truth is, a lot of us get to this point of the year and we almost just feel really bad because maybe there were certain goals that we had set out to accomplish early in the year. We had created very beautiful vision boards that maybe we've never even looked at more than 5 times this entire year. Or things that we had been writing down, projects we had started that had now gathered dust. So it can be a bit of a challenge right now. But talk to us about why, nonetheless, that evaluation is still so important.
Well, self-evaluation is first and foremost important for you to understand in what direction you're growing and if you're growing at all. And what else is coming up for you as important in your life, because life is about moving, as Albert Einstein has said. It's about moving, it's about seeing new sights, it's about incorporating new things. We are always transitioning in one way or another. We are transitioning in our family life, our work life, our money life. So self-evaluation helps us to consciously bring that to our awareness. What is it that I've been able to do, and what is it that's pending, and what is it that I need to include in my dream and my vision? Who is it do I need to align myself with? What resources do I need? Because that is normally not conscious. If you're not thinking about it, you'll just be living and living.
Sure.
Self-evaluation helps you to have that conversation with yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how do we go about that evaluation? What are the how does one examine themselves? Are there certain areas perhaps that one should be looking at to assess themselves?
Yeah.
How would you structure it?
So when you're doing a self-evaluation, most people go the way of looking at particular actions that they need to take, particular things that they need to accumulate, maybe courses that they need to do. But self-evaluation is mostly about the bigger picture. It's about what experience, what quality of life do I want, and what have I been able to achieve in my life right now to create that. So it's creating a bigger picture. It's in terms of what values do I want to have, or what values do I have? Have I been living these values? It's about what vibe is my life having, in terms of the relationships I have, in terms of the things that I do on a daily basis. So if you do a self-evaluation based on a bigger picture, in terms of the vibe and the feel, then you're able to fill it in with things and people, and growth aspects.
So speaking of that bigger picture, one of the things that I guess a lot of us don't consider to put into our sort of goals for the year is working on our own character development.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
How does one assess whether are you more patient by the end of the year? Are you more forgiving? Are you more honest? Are you more kind?
Yeah.
How does one evaluate themselves on those things that truly are the bigger picture that at the end of the day affect everything else, including those material things that we're chasing?
I like to work backwards. So if you have been doing this, so you'll have like a record of what were your biggest challenges last year, what were your biggest challenges at the beginning of this year, and what are your biggest challenges right now. So when you look at your biggest challenge, you can decide, you can see who is, because you're the person creating these challenges. You're starting on a certain platform to create these challenges. So is it your impatience that is creating these challenges? And if this challenge if you've been able to overcome it, then it means that a part of your character has changed, a bit of your values has changed, So look at the challenges you're experiencing in your life and take responsibility as the person creating them, and that's basically how you can be able to tell whether you're growing character-wise and value-wise.
Right.
Yeah.
When one is evaluating themselves,
Yeah.
and perhaps this is something that they've been promising themselves to do for a very long time, and there's a measure of discouragement, disappointment that can set in with one's
Yeah.
self,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So there's two parts to this question, but let me begin with, how do you overcome those feelings of failure when you've evaluated yourself and you've seen, and yeah, it's true, I've done absolutely terrible in this thing, I have
Yeah.
completely failed even.
Yeah.
How does one pick up from that?
Wow. First of all, I mean, if that's you, I just want to tell you that there's nothing like really failing, because there's something you've learned. If you want, every failure can be a learning, a learning curve for you.
Yeah.
So you don't have to fail in the way that we've been taught, because we've been taught if you wanted 10 over 10 and you had 9, then I'm sorry, you failed.
Yeah.
But in life, there's nothing like failing. It's been set up in a way that there's always something to learn.
Right.
Secondly, there are two things to focus on. How are you growing through your challenges? And number two, what are you focusing on? Because a lot of us don't meet even our New Year resolutions because we are focusing on what we don't want instead of focusing on what we want. So if you're focusing on, maybe you want to lose weight, instead of focusing on your ideal weight, you're focusing on the weight that you have that you don't want. And according to the law of the universe, what you focus on is what expands. You see more of what you're looking at. So again, most of the time is to ask yourself, what have I been focusing on? If I've been focusing on the poverty that I have instead of the abundance that I want, then you have probably created more poverty in your life.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. All right. We're going to take a short break right now, but we're going to be back here with Caroline in just a few moments. And one of the things I want to ask her is, when you don't accomplish your goals, should you just sort of put them aside for now, or do you push them to the following year? What's the best way to accomplish those goals? Mnazijua, those goals that, it's been a New Year's resolution for like 7 years. How do you deal with it? Do you push it on to the next year, or do you just say, I'm going to give myself a break and then come back to it later? This and so much more when we come back from the break. This is Full Circle with Joyce. Stay tuned. All right, guys, welcome back to Full Circle with Joyce, and I'm here with my guest Caroline Gaithuma, who's a transformation life coach, and we're talking about end of year self-evaluation. This is something hopefully a few of you have begun thinking about even as we wind down the year. And before we jump back into that discussion, I did invite you to send me your messages, your goodwill messages and success wishes for KCPE candidates as they are sitting for their exams this week. Okay, and so let me read some of that feedback right now. Hey Joyce, I'm Frida and I'm loving the show. I wish my younger sister success in her exam. Thank you, Joyce, for your show. God bless you. God bless you too, my dear. Hey, I'm Caleb tuning in from Naivasha. Please help me wish my close younger friend Joseph from Lizar success in his KCPE exams. Kate from Kitangela says, I want to wish all Spring Valley Baptist candidates all the best. Faith Rehema from Umoja says, this show helps me a lot, wishing my brother Sebastian good success. Claudia from Kitale Kibomet says, would like to wish my brother success in his exam in Chavakali Boys. Hey Joyce, Irene watching from Kabarak. Please help me wish my nephew Olango success in his KCPE at Xaverian Primary School in Kisumu. Thank you guys for that. Of course, you can keep them coming to 22999. Let me just refresh this real quick. Let me check on Facebook before I bring back my guest into the discussion. Thank you again, you guys, for being a part of the show. even as we continue here. This is taking a bit of time to load, but certainly I have Irene Kendi here, says, hey Joyce, for me I do evaluate, this is back to now our discussion, I do evaluate myself every rim I turn a year, every time I guess I turn a year old, and when it comes to goals, they should be specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. You can't set a goal which you well know it will take years to attain. Let's be realistic. Asante sana. Rispa Nduta, you're tuned in from Nanyuki, and you say you evaluate yourself on a daily basis. Wow, that's quite impressive. But I guess, you know, at the end of the day, sit down and look, how well did I spend my time today? That's a good practice. Julian Blogger Drexler, you say you're loving the show and watching us from Muranga. So Caroline, let's jump back into this discussion. Just before the break, you were talking about how we shouldn't look at failure as failure. Those are lessons, right? Lessons for us to pick up from and learn. And I know there's some SMSs that have come in. I'm going to be getting to those in just a second. But let me also first ask you, what happens to those things that you don't accomplish? Is it something that you just, you know, tuvuke mwaka nayo, like let's push it to 2020, or how would you suggest one goes about that?
I think the first thing is to understand why you didn't accomplish them, because for some people it's the drive and the passion that was lacking. For other people it's the resources that didn't come through. For other people, something happened in their life and it was no longer a priority. For other people, it could be your health or something. So that's where you start. So how come I didn't accomplish this? And then find out, is it something I really want to do in the way that I wanted to do it? Because sometimes we say, I want to lose weight. And then you look up online and you jump on a bandwagon of some, you know, diet that other people are doing. Yes, you do want to lose weight, but maybe that way didn't work for you. You struggle through that and you are like, I'm done with this, but you still want to lose weight. So maybe the goal needs to still be there, but you find out what can work for you.
A different way of accomplishing it.
Exactly. Right. And also look at the goal behind the goal, because let's say I want to lose weight. Maybe my real goal is I want to feel good. I want to feel good about myself. I want to feel energy and vitality in my body. Then find out what other ways can I get this.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let me get to some questions from our audience members here. Hello, Joyce. Loving the show. In the instance whereby it's a company evaluation, how does one prepare for that? It's quite different from self-evaluation. You don't leave me your name. Oh man, but your number ends with 985. Asante sana, that's a really great question you've asked there. Caroline, what would be your response to this? How does one prepare for a company evaluation, those ND assessments that one does? Oftentimes, they can even determine whether you get a pay rise or a promotion.
Yeah, or you get fired.
Or you get fired,
Yeah, so the first thing is, do you understand the expectations that your company has of you? So maybe it's to relook your contract and see what your job description was. Look at the, you know, whatever it is that has been put before you as a task. So in whatever format. Another way, that's the first thing that you need to do. Secondly is to look at these other things that come along. You know, when I was employed in the corporate, there used to be a clause that says, and any other thing that is required of you.
Right.
And most of the time, because we didn't keep track of this other thing, that thing would take a lot of time, so that my job description is quarter done, but this other thing has taken the rest of my time and my energy, and nobody is noticing that. So when it comes to the evaluation, you're just told you've just done a quarter, but this other thing that was put on your plate was taking up a lot of your time. So that's what you need to always be in touch with, what is expected of you, whether it's on the contract or whether it's this other thing.
Sure.
And then, because what happens when the manager comes to do the evaluation, they actually come with your job description and they're like, tick, 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 tick.
And you can't say I didn't know. It's your contract.
It's your contract. You should
have
know.
to be aware of it.
Exactly. And if there's something that's not clear, go ahead and ask. If there's something that you're supposed to be doing under the guidance or in a team, also follow through, because it's yours.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Another question here. We're given forms to fill that have the different levels of performance. We have outstanding, effective, needs improvement, and unsatisfactory. What does it mean if I grade myself outstanding for everything? Would I come out as a know-it-all or arrogant? Please advise. I guess this is someone who's been given that thing. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of companies also employing this self-assessment. Like,
Yeah.
you tell us how you think you did as an
Yeah.
employee.
Yeah.
And it's a fair question.
Yeah,
You
it
know,
is.
if I feel like I did great during the year, should I
Yeah.
just tick outstanding to everything?
If that's what you feel and you've got evidence, because another thing about performance evaluation at work, there must be evidence.
So this is not just about how you feel.
It's not about how
Prove
you
it.
feel. It's about if there are deliverables, where are they? If there are things that were measurable, everything needed to be measurable.
Yeah.
So even your outstanding, you need to be basing it on something, not just how you feel.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. All right. So someone else says, most companies have end-year evaluations, especially this time of the year. My question is, does it speak doom for employees? Does it mean losing your job? And I think we kind of addressed that earlier, saying not necessarily.
Yeah, not
if you've done a good job.
necessarily. Yeah, and I think we have a certain attitude towards evaluation because of how we were conditioned in school, because it meant you are either going to get whipped for failing or you're going to get a present for passing. And so we didn't take it positively, and so even at work, everybody is dreading the evaluation that happens. But I think it's also important for you to know how you're doing. Is your career growing? Is your role growing? Is there opportunity coming up for you
Right.
through the evaluation? Yeah.
Right. Someone else says, hey Joyce, your discussion is very timely. Thanks for the topic. I'm going for an evaluation tomorrow. What tips can your coach help me to prepare for it? What happens in the event that an evaluation goes south? And you say you're loving the discussion. You don't leave me your name, but you've also added on that in case I'm given negative comments in an evaluation, how do I keep that from affecting my job next year, especially if my boss is unfair? So let's begin with the first part, which is they have an evaluation tomorrow.
Yeah.
What would be some of the biggest tips that you would have for them to prepare for it now?
So the first tip is be very clear about the expectations. So go through your contract or whatever it is. Number two, be very clear about what it is that you have done in the course of the year. So have that like in your fingertips, what you have done, what you have accomplished. Also have what you have not accomplished and the challenges that you have faced. Have them clear, because that's what stands for you when you haven't accomplished something.
Right.
Also take responsibility. Don't blame. Don't use a blame game. The energy of blame game is what gets people to witch hunt you, gets people to put you in a
So
corner.
smart. That's not the point to
Yeah.
start saying, unajua hata ukweli ni nani yako
Yeah.
anafanya. And then you
Yeah.
start selling out your employee.
Exactly.
Don't do that.
Just own up. Own up to where you have. We are not perfect.
Yeah.
You have only 8 hours in a day at work. You might not do everything that's required of you. So just own up to what you haven't accomplished. Talk about what you have accomplished and show evidence. And also talk about your growth areas. Know what areas do you want to grow in your work and what support do you need. Those are the things that you need to know.
Okay.
Yeah.
And actually, you have an evaluation that people can do.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
So at Destiny Life Coaching, where I work, we help people to do their own self evaluation in all the areas of their lives, and it's free. So they just need to go onto our website and book a free session, and that will get them to assess their value system, their work, their money, their relationships, basically everything, their character. It's a total self-evaluation session that's 1 hour, and it's
Right.
free.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
And people can even evaluate their relationships, right?
Yes.
This doesn't have to just be work or
Yes.
finance. And
Yeah. If you look at a human being, we have so many different facets that make us.
Yeah.
You know,
Even spiritual.
Exactly, spiritual, even health-wise,
Yeah.
relationship, even legacy. You know, how far are you in accomplishing your life's mission? Do you even know your life's mission? So basically, all the areas of our lives, that's what make a full assessment of yourself. Yeah. Yeah.
Another comment here. Hey Joyce, I'm Ademba Allens watching the show from Kibra. I don't think I've read an SMS from you, Ademba, before. Karibu sana to Full Circle with Joyce. But you say, I've got to say that this year has turned out to be a bigger blow, as in everything I try to do turns out negative. And I find myself revisiting my plans and ideas over and over again, but results remain positive, or I don't know if you meant negative there. What do you think I should do? Should I give up or change my strategies? Wow, Ademba, thank you so much for sharing that with us. And Caroline, of course, you're also a life coach, right? So as you talk about these, I'm sure these are some of the issues that you come across, you know, on a day-to-day basis. Could you maybe address Ademba's concerns here? Having tried so many different times, you can hear he's getting a bit frustrated. Is it about changing strategies at this point, or how would you coach him forward?
One of the things that if he were to come to me, I would first address is where has his focus been? Because a lot of people don't know that they are focusing on what they don't want.
Or
Most
you're
of the
focusing
time,
on what we think,
yeah,
on what other people are
Exactly.
doing, and so we think it's important for us too.
Yeah, or what's your dominant thought about your goal?
Yeah.
If I could go to that level, what's your dominant goal about your goal? So if the dominant thought about your goal is how hard it is and how much you must work to get it, then it's going to get hard. That's exactly what you'll manifest. It will be exactly as you're thinking about it. If you think of your goal as something that you're eager to achieve, as something you're excited about, then that's what the journey becomes. So let's think about the focus, and also what strategy have you been using? Maybe you've just been following what other people are doing. You've never come to the truth of how you need to do it yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And just in case he wants to reach out, how can he get a hold of you? How can he stay in touch?
So he can go to our website, www.dlc.co.ke. There's a button somewhere there to book a free session, and there's a place for contact us, so you can contact us there, or call us, email us, or book a session.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, we're going to be getting ready for a break in just a few moments here. But just before we head there, let me read out some more of your KCPE success wishes. Of course, those are beginning this week. There's rehearsals today, actually. Pesh from Eldoret says, please help me wish my cousin Andrew, Akila, Shadrach, and Anne Andeso, I guess, good wishes. Hello, Joyce. I'm Sydney Kelsey from Kitale, wishing my friend Sheila Ndiwa success at Kibomet Secondary. Hey, Joyce, I'd like to wish my sister Charity at Bukuria School success in her KCPE exams. Sam, son of Inungo. Okay, you're watching us from Siaya. Asante sana. Hey, Joyce, it's Nelly from Mlolongo. Want to wish my small bro Alvin at Victor's Academy, Meru, success, and my closest friend at Kangaru School, that's Ali. Emily Mutuku, you're saying you're watching us from Drive-In and you want us to help wish Eunice Nduta success, and your sister Nora at Our Lady of Mercy Tower Girls. Another comment here, Mercy. Good morning, Joyce. Would like to wish success to all candidates of Dr. Sturi Primary School, Tenwick. I want to wish my brother success in his exam tomorrow in Queen of Angels, Eldoret. You don't leave me your name, but thank you for that. Thank you to all of you who've continued to send in your feedback. Kariz Shiro, watching us from Githurai 45. You say you're liking the show as usual and would like to send success wishes to Rayeta Primary, and in particular your bro Joseph Waweru Kariuki. I'm sure Asipanic atapita because he is not a failure. And you know what, Caroline, actually, you're a life coach again. And this is exam period, moving away from self-evaluation of ourselves as adults. What would be some of the biggest things that you could help us, like, as we guide this younger generation sitting for exams? And exams in this country have been such a polarizing thing, and just super emotional and contentional because of what has been held at stake with them, right? And so maybe, I don't know, what would be, I guess, your tips for candidates right now that maybe parents and guardians can share on to their kids? How can we help keep them calm, and just, you know, just encourage them about doing their best, and that's enough?
As parents, we must first of all de-emotionalize this whole thing, because the more emotional and the more anxious we look, our kids can read that, and that's what they get. They're like, if mom is this emotional, then oh my God, it's like her life is in my hands. And
oh gosh,
you know,
too much pressure.
and that's too much pressure, you know. And then on top of that is the pressure that we've been told that this 3 days will determine the rest of your life. And of course, that's really a heavy burden burden. So as parents, we must like decompress the whole of this thing and just tell them, you know what, you've done well the whole of this year. This is just to check what you have retained. And that's all. It's not a determinant of the rest of your life. It's just an assessment.
Yeah.
And also as a parent, relax. Stop living your life through your children.
Absolutely.
And trying to make them get the marks you didn't get, so that you can floss in your hood as a good parent.
Yeah, you need to give assurances that regardless of what they do, you're proud of them. You're gonna support them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And really mean it. You know, just see your child as a child and as the best thing that has happened to you, and whatever they get, you know, that's theirs.
Be grateful. Absolutely.
Exactly, yeah.
Caroline, thank you so much for joining me here on the show. It's been great talking to you.
Thank
And
you.
I appreciate your time. Hopefully you guys have learned something there. Thank you to all of you who've sent in your feedback. KCP candidates, all the best. All of you doing evaluations at work this week, all the best. There are some tips for you right here, and even your own personal reflections. Hopefully you guys will take these to heart. Well, coming up next, we're going to get into our final segment for the day, and we're going to be talking about taking hold of opportunities. How do we grab them? As we heard in the first hour, there's some opportunities that come our way, but because of one reason or another, zinatupita tu, zinaenda hivi na hivi na hivi, and they never settle. You know, we want to be able to address that coming up shortly with my guest Sharon. Will be back here in studio. Stay tuned.